Administrators believed that they could crush this movement without having it grow. And it turns out that's a mistake. Sometimes people say, okay, well, we want to protect speech, but only if speech is polite. But the reality is that if you believe in free speech as a principle, you have to believe in speech that can get angry.
舊年加沙戰爭爆發之後，美國聲援巴勒斯坦嘅示威活動持續，但紐約市哥倫比亞大學嘅學生喺1個月前喺校內進行咗紮營抗議之後，全國各大高校都爆發示威，佢哋高喊解放巴勒斯坦嘅口號，同反對嘅示威者同警察發生衝突，至今都未有緩解嘅跡象。
I think that there is a fear on the part of a lot of administrators that this encampment movement is going to spread and it's going to be making it very, very hard for them to manage their campuses. What we've seen, though, is that where you have a crackdown, that causes the movement to spread. Where you have an attempt to shut down the movement with police, that makes the movement grow. It's not just a movement about Israeli policy, it's also a movement about the way that American students are being treated by their institutions and by politicians and government themselves.
喺上世紀嘅60至70年代，哥大都係反越戰學生運動嘅重要基地。當時大規模嘅學生運動為美國社會帶嚟咗深遠嘅影響，推動咗美國政府結束徵兵制，甚至從越南撤軍。好多媒體都指出，大學當時冇好似而家咁樣迅速採取行動鎮壓示威。
I think it's also important to note that one of the things that happened in the 70s was that the administrators had a lot of respect for student power, that the students had proven that they could organize themselves. And so administrators made a decision that it wasn't going to be possible for them to shut down this movement.
Look, it's been 2 days and we've taken 5 buildings: Hamilton, Low, Avery, Fairweather, and Mass. If you've got the administration figured right, they're up to calling the cops. And when they do, we want to be here.
Administrators come to understand that every time they try and enforce the rules, there is going to be a backlash. 4 times in the United States between 1968 and 1970, police attempts to end a protest end in protesters' deaths. So in South Carolina State College in 1968, in Berkeley in 1969, and in Kent State and Jackson State in 1970. A total of 10 students and protesters and just bystanders are killed by police. That there are some administrators and some politicians who look at this and they say, where is this going to end? We can't just keep killing our kids. And that is a lesson that took 10 deaths to learn. My fear is that it will take more deaths to learn that lesson again. But I think one of the things that happened is we have a president here who believed that she could shut this down before the end of the semester. This was the land where the commencement exercises were supposed to be happening. So I think there's a perception on the part of a lot of people that these protests are potentially damaging to the Democratic Party. There are concerns about anti-Semitism. So all of these things are coming into play. So I think the student movement of the 60s transformed the country in a lot of ways. We saw the lowering of the voting age, which changed politics a lot. We saw that the universities themselves were changed. You saw the development of Black studies and women's studies and other kinds of curriculum that hadn't existed before. Students got more rights on the campus. There was also a backlash. We see a rising conservative tide in the 70s and 80s, which is partly a response to the student protest of the 60s. I think we're very early in our current moment. I don't think it's going to win or lose in the next 3 months. I think that it's going to come back in the fall and keep going in ways that we can't predict now.